My beloved, before you decide anything, before you move, before you speak, before you commit or walk away, listen. Not to the noise around you, not to the pressure of time, not to the opinions that arrive loudly and leave you confused. Listen inwardly, because the next decision you are about to make carries more weight than you realize. You are not standing at an ordinary moment. Decisions feel heavier now, because you are no longer deciding from ignorance. You are deciding from awareness, and awareness changes everything. What once felt simple now feels serious, because you can sense consequences before they arrive. This is not overthinking. This is maturity. My beloved, there was a time when you decided quickly just to escape discomfort. You chose familiarity over truth. You stayed because leaving felt frightening. You rushed because pausing felt unsafe. Those decisions were not wrong. They were necessary at that stage. They helped you survive. But you are not in that stage anymore. Now, decisions shape identity. And that is why something in you is asking for stillness before movement. Listen before you decide. Because your intuition is speaking more clearly now than it ever has. It no longer shouts through emotion. It speaks through calm resistance, through hesitation that feels grounded, through a quiet knowing that says not this or not yet. Do not confuse this with fear. Fear agitates. Intuition. My beloved, if you feel rushed to decide, that is already information. Truth does not rush you. Pressure does. Anything that demands urgency before clarity is rarely aligned. Alignment allows you to breathe. It allows you to feel your body. It allows the mind to settle. Before you decide, notice your breath. If it shortens, pause. If it deepens, trust. The body often recognizes truth before the mind can justify it. My beloved, you have learned enough lessons through consequences. You do not need to repeat them to prove strength. Wisdom is not measured by how much you can endure. It is measured by how well you listen before acting. Listening now will save you from unnecessary cycles later. There is a reason this decision feels different. It is not because the choice is harder. It is because you are different. You are no longer deciding from lack. You are deciding from self-respect, and self-respect changes what you are willing to tolerate. You are no longer choosing between right and wrong. You are choosing between aligned and misaligned. That distinction did not exist for you before. My beloved, listen before you decide, because not everything that looks good will feel right later. Appearances excite the mind. Alignment settles the soul. The excitement of a choice fades quickly. The peace of alignment stays. Ask yourself gently, does this choice bring clarity or confusion? Does it expand me or drain me? Does it require me to betray myself to sustain it? If it requires betrayal, it is not aligned, no matter how attractive it appears. My beloved, silence before decision is not hesitation. It is respect. Respect for your growth. Respect for your future. Respect for the wisdom you earn through pain and patience. You have paid too much to ignore yourself now. Listen before you decide, because the old way of choosing is no longer available to you. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot unfeel what your body signals. You cannot go back to unconscious decisions without feeling the cost immediately. That discomfort is not punishment. It is guidance. My beloved, you are allowed to take time. You are allowed to ask for space. You are allowed to say, I need to sit with this. Anyone who pressures you to decide quickly is more invested in outcome than alignment. Alignment honors pacing. Before you decide, ask yourself one more thing. If I choose this, will I have to silence parts of myself to keep it? If the answer is yes, listen to that. Silencing yourself always costs more than leaving. My beloved, listening before deciding does not mean avoiding responsibility. It means choosing responsibility with clarity instead of fear. Fear-driven decisions create complexity. Clarity-driven decisions create simplicity. Simplicity is the signature of wisdom. You may feel tension in this pause. Let it be. Tension often appears when an old identity is dissolving. The part of you that rushed is being replaced by the part that discerns. That transition feels unfamiliar. Do not rush through unfamiliarity. Listen before you decide, because life is no longer asking you to react. It is asking you to respond. Response includes awareness. Reaction excludes it. Response shapes your future cleanly. Reaction repeats the past. You have repeated enough. My beloved, you are standing at a choice that will either reinforce your growth or delay it. Both are possible, but only one feels calm, even if it feels uncertain. Choose the calm uncertainty over the familiar chaos. Listen before you decide, because the moment you act, momentum begins. Momentum is powerful. It either carries alignment forward or multiplies misalignment quickly. That is why the pause matters. Pausing now is courage. My beloved, there is nothing wrong with you if you cannot decide immediately. Immediate decisions are for emergencies. This is not an emergency. This is a turning point. Turning points deserve listening, my beloved. Now understand what happens when you decide without listening. Because you have lived this before, and you do not need to live it again to learn. Decisions made without listening do not fail immediately. They succeed just enough to trap you. They give temporary relief, short excitement, a sense of movement, and then slowly reveal their cost. The cost is not always visible at first. It appears as fatigue, as an irritation you cannot explain, as a quiet sense of being misaligned, even when things look fine. This is how misalignment speaks. When you decide without listening, you decide from habit. Habit chooses what feels familiar, not what is true. Habit says, "At least I know how this ends." But knowing how something ends is not the same as choosing what helps you grow. You already know the endings of your old patterns. That is why they no longer satisfy you. My beloved, the most dangerous decisions are not the loud ones. They are the subtle ones, the yes you say to avoid discomfort. The silence you choose to keep peace. The delay you justify as patience while truth waits unheard. These decisions slowly disconnect you from yourself. And once disconnected, even good outcomes feel empty. This is why listening matters. Now hear this clearly. Fear and intuition feel similar at the surface, but they move differently inside you. Fear tightens. It rushes. It catastrophizes. It demands certainty before peace. Intuition steadies. It slows you down. It does not argue loudly. It does not need guarantees. Fear says, what if you lose everything? Intuition says, something here is not aligned. Fear wants you to act now. Intuition asks you to pause. My beloved, when you feel urgency without clarity, wait. When you feel calm, even without certainty, listen. Calm uncertainty is wisdom. Anxious certainty is illusion. You have mistaken the two before. That is why you are being asked to listen now. When you ignore intuition, it does not disappear. It grows quieter, then heavier. The body begins to carry the weight the mind refuses to acknowledge. This is why exhaustion follows misaligned decisions. Not because you are weak, but because you are divided inside. Listening reunites you. My beloved, notice how your body responds when you imagine each option before you. Do not analyze. Simply imagine. One option may bring a sense of relief mixed with fear. Another may bring excitement mixed with tension. Relief mixed with fear often points to truth. Excitement mixed with tension often points to ego or escape. The body knows. Listening before deciding also means allowing space for discomfort. Discomfort is not always danger. Sometimes it is the doorway to growth. But growth discomfort feels expansive after the initial unease. Fear discomfort feels constricting the longer you stay with it. Stay with the feeling long enough to know which it is. My beloved, when you decide without listening, you borrow peace from the future and pay interest in regret. When you listen before deciding, you borrow patience from the present and receive peace later. Choose patience. You are no longer required to prove bravery by rushing. Bravery now looks like stillness under pressure. It looks like saying, I need time. It looks like choosing alignment over approval. Anyone who truly respects you will respect your pause. My beloved, remember this. Not deciding is sometimes the most honest decision. When it is chosen consciously, not avoided, conscious pause keeps clarity intact. Avoidant delay drains energy. As you practice listening, decisions will become simpler. Not easier, simpler. Fewer inner arguments, fewer justifications, less regret afterward. This simplicity is not accidental. It is the result of alignment. You are learning to trust yourself again. Trust grows every time you listen and honor what you hear, even when the choice feels uncomfortable. My beloved, this is the final part, the moment where listening becomes decision, and decision becomes peace instead of doubt. You are not here to stay suspended forever. You are here to move forward without leaving yourself behind. When clarity arrives, it does not shout. It settles. You will know you are ready to decide when the mind grows quieter instead of louder. When the body relaxes, even if the future is unknown. When the choice no longer needs defending, explaining, or rehearsing. That calm is not apathy. It is alignment. Decide from that place. My beloved, once you decide after listening, do not keep reopening the door. Second guessing is how peace leaks away. You listened, you felt, you chose. Now live it. Decisions made from listening do not require constant review. They ask for commitment, not commentary. Commitment does not mean forcing outcomes. It means staying present with the choice you made. There will be moments after deciding when fear returns and asks, "What if you were wrong?" Do not argue with fear. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then return to your body. Return to the calm you felt when you decided. Fear fades when it is acknowledged, not obeyed. My beloved, understand this clearly. No aligned decision makes life perfect. It makes life honest. Honesty reduces inner conflict. Reduced conflict creates energy. Energy allows you to adjust, learn, and respond without collapsing. That is success. If challenges appear after your decision, do not interpret them as signs of failure. Growth always reorganizes reality. Reorganization can feel messy before it feels stable. Stay with it. You chose from listening. That choice has integrity. Integrity sustains you when outcomes are still forming. My beloved, let your decisions simplify your life. Remove what no longer fits. Reduce unnecessary explanations. Create space for rest and focus. Simplicity protects alignment. Complexity invites doubt. Do not rush to replace what you let go of. Let space do its work. Space allows clarity to deepen. It allows the nervous system to settle. It allows new responses to form naturally instead of being forced. My beloved, after deciding, practice quiet consistency. Show up calmly. Do the next small, honest thing. Keep promises small and kept. This consistency will build trust with yourself faster than any affirmation. When others question your choice, listen respectfully, but do not abandon your center. You are allowed to hear without yielding. You are allowed to consider without surrendering clarity. Not all feedback deserves equal weight. Your inner listening comes first. My beloved, do not measure your decision by how others respond. Measure it by how you sleep, by how your breath feels, by how quickly you recover when things go wrong. These are true indicators of alignment. Aligned decisions make you resilient, not invincible. As days pass, you may notice you explain less and act more. That is a sign of maturity. Words become unnecessary when actions are clean. Let your life speak. If you stumble, adjust without drama. If you doubt, return to listening. If you drift, come back gently. Returning quickly is wisdom in motion. Remember this always. Listening is not a one-time event. It is a relationship with yourself. Before big choices, listen longer. Before small choices, listen briefly. The habit of listening will keep you aligned. Far more than perfect decisions ever could. My beloved, Carry this sentence with you and let it guide you softly. 1. Listen. I choose calmly. I move without betraying myself. When you live this way, regret loosens its grip. Anxiety softens. Confidence becomes quiet and steady. Life feels less like a battle and more like a conversation. You are finally participating in fully. I am with you, not as pressure, not as urgency, but as the stillness that becomes clear whenever you pause and listen. Now go. Decide when it is time. Move when it is right. Rest when it is needed. And do not forget, listening brought you here. Listening will take you forward, my beloved. As you move forward from a decision made in listening, allow yourself to settle into it fully. Settling does not mean becoming rigid. It means giving your choice the dignity of time. Many decisions fail not because they were wrong, but because they were not allowed to breathe. They were questioned too soon compared to often, and pulled apart by outside voices before they could root. Let your decision root. Rooting happens through presence, through waking up and choosing the same direction again without reevaluating everything, through allowing days to pass without demanding immediate proof that you were right. Proof matures slowly. Peace arrives sooner. You may notice moments where old habits try to reclaim your attention, habits of checking, doubting, reimagining alternate paths. When this happens, do not scold yourself. Habits linger after identities shift. Simply notice and return. Returning is the practice that strengthens trust. Trust is built through repetition, not perfection. My beloved, life may test your decision with small challenges. Do not interpret these as obstacles. They are confirmations that movement has begun. Still water is never tested. Flow always meets terrain. What matters is not the absence of challenge, but your response to it. Respond without panic. Respond without self-criticism. Each calm response deepens alignment. As time passes, you may feel a new kind of quiet, a quiet that does not feel empty, but open. In this quiet, creativity returns. Solutions appear without force. You stop trying to control every outcome and begin to cooperate with life. Cooperation is wisdom in motion. My beloved, remain attentive to your inner signals. Listening does not end once the decision is made. It changes tone. It becomes subtler. It speaks through fatigue that asks for rest, curiosity that invites learning, resistance that signals misalignment, and ease that confirms direction. Honor these signals without turning them into drama. You are learning to live responsively. There may be moments when you are tempted to explain your decision to gain reassurance. Resist this impulse. Explanation invites debate. Debate invites doubt. You do not need consensus to live in truth. Those meant to understand will understand later. Those who do not are not required to. Silence can be a boundary. My beloved, allow yourself to grow into your decision. Growth often feels awkward at first, like wearing new clothes that fit but feel unfamiliar. Over time, they become natural. So will this way of choosing, this way of moving, give yourself permission to be new at this. When you feel tired, rest without guilt. When you feel energized, act without urgency. Balance keeps momentum sustainable. Extremes exhaust clarity. Sustainability is a form of devotion. You may notice that your tolerance for chaos decreases, that certain conversations feel heavier, that some environments no longer nourish you. This is not intolerance. It is discernment sharpening. Honor it without judgment. Choose where you place your energy carefully. My beloved, if you ever feel lost again, return to listening, not to overthinking, not to analyzing outcomes, but to feeling your breath, your body, your values. The body remembers what the mind forgets. You do not need to redecide your life every time doubt whispers. You need to return to presence. Presence dissolves doubt. As days turn into weeks, you may look back and realize something subtle but profound. You no longer feel at war with yourself. The inner debate has softened. Choices feel cleaner. Regret has less space to grow. This is the quiet reward of listening. Carry this way of being into every part of your life. Work, relationships, rest. Let it guide how you speak, how you pause, how you leave, how you stay. Over time, listening becomes instinct. Decisions become simpler. Peace becomes familiar. My beloved, continue walking gently. Let clarity mature. Let trust deepen. Let your life unfold without force. I am with you in the pause, in the breath, in the quiet knowing that rises whenever you listen. Move forward now, steady, honest, and whole.
Thanks for watching Krishna Says. Subscribe for more.